Well, Dwight Gooden has been in the news the last few days as many people are expressing their concern and worry about the state of his health. Mets legend Darryl Strawberry was one of them as he talked to John over the weekend, and he now joins us on the phone. Darryl, thanks for a few minutes. We really appreciate it. Now, Dwight today is denying that addiction is the issue here, saying a lot is involved. You obviously have a different sense of this. Why do you think this is the addiction once again?
Well, first of all, I'm very sincere about trying to help him. I have nothing to gain in this. I'm a recovering addict myself, and I've been down the road, and there's a serious problem, and it's been a serious problem for a long time. You know, we all have tried to cover up for him, but I can no longer lie about things. You know, I'm a man of, character and integrity today. I'm not the same person I used to be 30 years ago, and I'm helping people every day. I see this in my treatment center with people coming through every day with the same kind of problems and the struggles, and it's real. And he needs to get help. He just needs to get help. He can talk about me and say whatever he wants about it. It really doesn't matter. You know, my job is to try to get him exposed to people so they can see, so people can reach out and try to help him get on the right track with his life.
Straw, I know you told me you were trying kind of behind the scenes to make him realize he needed help, things like that. Obviously, it wasn't working. You felt this was a kind of a last step in some ways to go public with it, almost like an intervention in some ways, a public intervention. How did you think that would play with him, and why did you think it was important to take that step?
Well, I really wasn't concerned about how it would play with him at this point, because Doc is very sick, and I think a lot of people don't take heed to that and recognize that. Being an addict and struggling with addiction and using and saying you're okay, and all you got to do is look at him. He looks like a totally different person. And, the reality is his life is more important to me. He's worth it. Regardless of what he may think about me, what he may say about me, I'm going to keep speaking publicly about it, because if no one speaks about it, he will be a tragedy. He will be an ESPN headline. He will be just like Prince or Michael Jordan, Whitney Houston. No one wants to talk about celebrities. No one's silent about celebrities and addiction. It's a problem, and you can get help and you can recover. And people need to know that. I think we put these people on the pedestals and we believe everything they say, and we don't look at the condition of their life and where they're at. And Doc's in a very difficult place. He's no different than anyone else that's walking through the Darryl Strawberry Recovery Centers trying to get well. It's a struggle, it's a battle, and if you don't surrender and allow someone to help you, you're going to continue to do the same thing.
You mentioned how he looks. A picture on the Daily News website today did look very, very frail outside of his apartment in Jersey City. Now, Gooden says he's hurt that you went public about it. He said to the Joe Piscopo radio show today that the Darryl thing hurt me a lot. I reestablished a relationship with him. I gave him a lot of stuff. I never went to the press. I never said anything about him. I need to make better choices in picking friends. He also told a newspaper in town today that, that he was done with you. That he took you back into his life. He was done with you. Even went on to say that when he was married to his wife, you hit on his wife at the time. What's your reaction to all this?
Of course he's going to distract everything and put it on me. He's going to blame me. That's what Doc has done his whole life. He's manipulated the situation. He BS's everybody to play the kind role to get in and says, look at poor me. I'm not the one who's struggling with addiction right now. I'm not the one whose life is on the line. I'm not the one who weighs 155 pounds. Regardless of what he says about me, and it's not true, I love him. I don't care if he doesn't ever talk to me again. If I could be the pillow of saving his life, then that would be the greatest gift that I could ever receive, because here there's another guy that's struggling with addiction who's publicly don't want people to look at him the wrong way. It's okay. You're an addict. Just deal with it. Get well. That's all my concern is for him, guys. My concern is not about anything else. I have a wonderful life. I'm blessed. I love God. I love my wife. I love my kids, and have ministry and have treatment centers, and I'm tremendously blessed. I'm not looking to stir up nobody's stuff in their life. I'm trying to help a guy that's struggling, that needs help.
Darryl, you've been there with this addiction, and when a guy is this deep in denial, how does it change for Doc? What kind of rock bottom does he have to hit without, the worst possible ending here for a guy like that?
Well, I think right now he's sitting in a place where he's got to re-examine himself, because he knows that we're telling the truth. He knows that Jonas is telling the truth. He knows that I'm telling the truth. He knows all the other people are telling the truth. It's a matter of is he going to step up and face the truth? And if he doesn't face the truth, we know. I tell you guys this because I know what happens with addiction, and it doesn't end up pretty if you don't get well, if you don't surrender. And if he doesn't surrender, it's not going to end up well. And people need to stop sugarcoating it and saying, nobody should talk about this. Well, that's the problem in America. We don't talk about it. That's why the advisory board of SAMHSA at the White House has invited me to be on the advisory board for the next 3 years with substance abuse and mental health, to be able to talk about it. We need to talk about these problems so people can get well, and don't be ashamed. You sit around and you be ashamed because everybody thinks he's Dr. K. He's not Dr. K anymore. He's an addict who's struggling, that needs help, and somebody needs to speak up. And if we lose a friendship over that, at least I did my job. I spoke up about it.
It's interesting. You mentioned how people don't speak up enough, and addiction, people just don't understand the disease that it is in this country. So much of the reaction today has been, especially after what everybody saw in 30 for 30 Revisited with you guys a few weeks ago, people are surprised that after all that's gone on, this is still an issue. I would imagine you're not surprised that after all that you and Doc have been through, that this is an issue, and you're no longer an addict, but you're speaking out with him. I'm guessing you're not surprised that we're still at this point with Dwight Gooden.
I'm not surprised because he's an addict and he's still using. And if I was an addict, I'll still be using. I wouldn't have anything to talk about. I'm a recovering addict. I will always be an addict, but I've been set free, and I live an abundant life because I've been set free. I no longer allow drugs and alcohol to rule and reign over my life. A guy is sick. He's a guy that is active in addiction. He's sick. He's just sick as the secrets. The secrets of life, and you want to turn it on everybody else, and you want to make it everybody else's problem. Dwight, this is not my problem. This is your friend, and whatever you want to consider me to be. But I'm trying to save your life, because if you don't get it, you're going to lose your life. And I know that. Like I said, I see this every day, and that's the challenge that we're facing. And
if that comes with, as you said, if you got to be the bad guy, you'll be the bad guy, right? If that's what it takes.
If it takes for me to be the bad guy to speak out to America. Because I speak out of all of them. I'm going to Florida State tomorrow to speak to the football team. I spoke to the University of Alabama football team about drugs and alcohol on the campus and stuff like that. Because, young athletes get in trouble, and former athletes are still in trouble, and Dwight's in trouble. And regardless of what he wants to say about me, he needs to look in the mirror at himself and says, I have a serious problem with drug addiction, and I need real help. And people are reaching out and trying to rally around, and I'm getting all kinds of calls from different organizations, people trying to help me. But, he's got to be willing to want to take the help. People want to help him.
Just want to note here, I spoke to Dwight. He did not want to comment at this time, said he was putting out a statement and would speak in later days. Darryl, Dwight is obviously in our viewing area. He's in Jersey City right now, probably watching this. If he is watching this, what's your message to him?
My message to him is just allow people to help you. I had people help me. My wife, my Ron Doc, people, they helped me. They helped me get on the other side of life. This is not a game. I'm not here to make this out of a big story about your life, but somebody's got to say something at some point. You're dying, man, and we love you, and we just want you well. We just want you to get in recovery and get well and live an abundant life, because life is still in front of you if you make the right choices. And if you don't make the right choices, he's just going to be like any other addict who ODs and die and get out of here in such a horrible way. And people are going to say, well, why didn't anybody help him? And I don't ever want anyone to judge me and say I didn't help him. I tried everything to help him.
And I know that's why you reached out to John over the weekend. Darryl, we know a lot of people are trying to reach you today. We really appreciate you giving us a few minutes of your time, and we hope to speak to you on happier notes and levels in the future.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Straw.
All right, the one and only Darryl Strawberry. Up next on DNL, we join the guys back on set to recap our interview with Darryl Strawberry and hear their concerns about this situation with Dwight Gooden.